Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Pete's Model Car Customs. I hope you're all well. The dog has just done a bunt runner and we'll probably start whining in a minute. A little snort. As you can see, I've got a lot on this bench and quite a bit to go through, so I don't know whether I'm going to do one or two videos. It depends on the time and whatever, because there is a lot here. As you may be able to tell from the background, there's a Deuce sedan in the background, which is turned up in the post. Another of my little buys. And then there's also a Deuce, if I haven't knocked it out of the way, grill in the front here, which is part of the Eye Gone Wild build, which is what I want to start off with, really, and then go on to the Bronco changes for anyone who is trying to adapt their suspension, as I was describing the other day. I thought I'd just quickly finish that up before, well, quite frankly, I'm going to put it away, because after that it's going to be basically spraying. And although it's been lovely here, it's still blimmin' cold. And due to limited facilities, I do like to do my spraying and that outside if I can, or at least as far as outside as you can get, but it's just too damn cold. It's a lovely crisp day. I've just had a brilliant walk around the woods with my dog, but it's pretty blooming nippy. Anyway, moving on. There's a lot of chrome bits here with the grill unit. This, like I said, is the grill and front axle off of the Eye Gone Wild kit, and I've cleaned it all through, sprayed it. I've got the chroming to do. I was looking at the axle, and the artwork on the box had actually shown shocks and headlamps, but there aren't any. There's none in the box. So you're left with this basic setup. There's a frame piece that goes into these holes either side of the lower rad, you know, the front two horns. And then there's 3 sockets in the back that go into the engine and the rest of the chassis. There's fitting parts for the wheels that go on there, the wheel backs, but there aren't any shocks or headlamps. So from the spares box, and I was saying to Kyle the other day about some of those classic old cars. In 1/24th, the Cadillacs and you know, Bugattis and things like that, I find they're really cheap, because people get halfway through them and then leave them aside, and that's where these headlamps come off. This comes from a 1/24th scale Rolls Royce, and it is an absolutely peachy headlamp. I mean, it is beautiful. And so do these. These are the sort of pre-Appleton spotlights on a bracket. And if I can get my hand in the other way, on a mounting bracket in a huge saddle. Look how they fit in like that. What a beautiful moulded light. But it's my dilemma at the moment. I need some for this, however beautiful they are. These would make quite nice. Put that down, Peter. Let's swap it over to the left-hand one. I was thinking of combining the parts from that chromed axle I just showed, and this is the smaller spotlight, and try and mount that in there somewhere, along with clunk. Stay still, my pegs come loose. Can't sit somehow. You know, cut these shocks out. And possibly that support post, put them in, and then try to work out a mounting on top of that shock to give me something like that. I'll probably have to just trim down the bracket a little. So if I take that upright post just beside the radiator, I know my wheel's further out than this wheel actually was. But if I then, put that bracket on top of the shock mount beside the radiator, that should do the trick. But it's a careful bit of trimming. This comes out of the old Monogram Black Widow tea bucket. It's a shame I couldn't just swap it over, but there you go. As do these radius arms, of which there also aren't any in this kit, but with a bit of adaptation I'll be able to whiz those in round the back and tie them to the frame of the I Gone Wild car. So that's that one out of the way. That's going to be the next part of the I Gone Wild, is sorting all that out. The actual body and everything else is on the other bench. Well, the I Gone Wild's out in the bathroom actually. Saddle Tramp. On that one, I've added 2mm pillow blocks under each mounting point at the rear. And around the front, everything's still dangly loose. This is the original mounting block. I'll knock that off. But I've raised that up by 2mm under there. And those two circle points, maybe I should bring that up, are a couple of punched out discs that will locate my new spring. So I've got a pad under there. In fact, it's under 2mm. I think it's 1.75mm. Because by the time the thickness of that is brought up, you're back to basically a 2mm lift. Also, the points in the centre of the axles were open sort of cups for a pin that is on the arm. And I've blocked them off. Which way around does that go? I've left this other arm in red so that it's all high vis. White is the strip bits. That will hook into there and go down into the shock mount and the locator point there. So that's one half. We now have 3-wheel drive and a slightly different angle to the radius box, to the transfer box. Now on these kits there's this half moon shaped thing that's an ill-fitting part on the transfer box to engine. So hopefully that the free movement of that will help me when I come to make up my new UJs and prop shafts. As when I first got this, they were missing. So then you put the other half into that dimple there and bring it over, and when I put the other arm on, it will line up there. But it's still only got 3-wheel drive. Where's the connection between this drive shaft and this hub? There's nothing linking the two. Somehow in the design of this, either these Broncos had 3-wheel drive, or this axle is completely wrong. No prop shaft. Anyway, there's a dilemma. What else have I done? No, that's basically it on that. It's a matter of padding and that, and like I said, I come across that dilemma. The other thing is, if I just flip that back out, get all them bits out of the way, and I've just noticed it by knocking the other one off. When you got this up a little bit, you've got a poise. You've got the angle of the hub will change a little bit. So I've adapted that hub so as it's kinked in, rather than being square on the end. The lower half is out a mil and the top half is in a mil. Well, it's slightly less than that, 0.75 of a mil. So as that plate will actually tilt, and that will square my wheel back up when the wheel sits on. And I'll get that all in place, and then they'll all floor touch the ground again. But like I say, I have spotted that it's got 3-wheel drive, which is just astounding. That covers that bit. Hang on, I'll move these all over. On the small scale group build, I have had a couple of problems. There's more parts off the sprue than I originally noticed, which has left me with that's one of the Bronco wheels drilled through. I used 3 different drills for this because of the angle they're at. I actually drilled through a pilot hole, then a bigger hole, but tilted my drill up as I came through, and then went in with a third tool, which was a tapering diamond burr, and finished off the hole. If you get these mixed up, the axle stubs, the long ones are for the front. Throw that all in the body. What was that? And I cut off the springs, which got temporarily. I've cut down a couple of biro ones to suit the gap, but they look a bit lightweight. Let's move that down there. Over there is a wonderful gift from my mad dog Merv. A Utah State snow globe, and I love it. I really do. I assume that is a sort of profile thing of Las Vegas, if it's or maybe Salt Lake City, I don't know. Yeah, Las Vegas is in Nevada, you bloody idiot. Hopefully that's a sort of profile of Salt Lake City's buildings. That being the capital and where Mad Dog lives. Brilliant stuff. I will never part with this, Merv. I honestly will never part with this. I think it's tremendous. I love all the leaves and what's the flower? Is that a cornflower? What is your state flower, let alone being the beehive state? Anyway, that's wonderful. So there it is. So there we have the little Woody, which is my entrance for the small scale group build. It's in 1/72nd, so that is very small. But I wanted to change the wheels over, so I've actually got a Jeep in here as well, and that's going to supply my missing parts. As I said, there was more parts missing from the sprue than I originally spotted, which was half of the front axle. But I've so far I've got altered wheels. I've taken this is a stock kit wheel. It's got a lovely detail and hub, but I've taken most of the tread off and expanded it by that slice of styrene. The original wheels are a sandwich type there, but I was missing on the sprue. I noticed there was, like, here and there other bits were knocked off, and they ended up being the left hand side A-arm, the left hand side axle point. So I'll have to scratch them out of Jeep parts, which is a totally different front setup. On the Jeep front wheel, I've just taken most of the tread off, and I'll get a fine saw. And if you've seen the others, I can form the tread by scribing this wheel round onto the saw. But I've also taken its military style tread pattern off, so we've got big and littles for it. But that more or less as far as I got, because I've got to now trim down this axle part to nick the axle stubs there and change the end of that axle stub to being a copy of the Humber part, and then nick a leaf spring. That was the other. I've got a leaf spring missing. The front is a transverse leaf spring, so I want to nick a leaf spring or build one. The end of that stub for the new axle, and then scratch build that lot. I've now run to 15 minutes and I haven't got round to that deuce, so I'm going to end this one here as it's an update on the group builds. So I'll leave it at that and then come back later with the deuce thing. Okay, bye for now, and best wishes from jolly old England.